All right, it says we're live, so I hope so. All right, welcome live from the crossroads of America to a 1 hour talk show, Shooting with Disabilities. It could go over to guns, politics, or anything else that crosses our minds. Answer questions from the audience, either in the chat or by email at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. We are broadcasting on YouTube. I'm not broadcasting on gun channels anymore because it's only got a couple of days left. Unfortunately, the audio file of this show will be on Podbean, iTunes, Stitchers within 24 hours of the show ending. I have a Patreon page if anybody's interested. It's down in the info section on YouTube there. So just wanted to let everybody know that. So I just want to say who we got in the chat so far. First one in was Patriot in the Dark. He's doing double duty. Then Jason Stewart. Then Blind Shooter. And who else we got? Unknown User. Sabrina's here. Seven Wonders. So the Tennessee Gun Guy is in. So let me introduce my panel. We got the one and only Patriot in the Dark. How you doing?
Good evening, everyone. Doing great. Thanks, Rick.
All right. Then we got Kingpin.
Hey, Rick. Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Yep. Then we got New York Outcast. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for the invite, Rick.
No problem. Then the one and only lovable Squibload.
Up here on a scissor lift pulling wire through conduit.
All right. No problem. All right. Thanks you all for being here. I really do appreciate it. Damn cold day today here in southern Indiana. Didn't get above, it felt like it didn't get above 34 today. And it snowed a little, but nothing settled. But it's meant to snow again overnight, I believe. So I don't know. Because I went out shopping this morning and get some groceries, spend the last of my cash. It's a 5-week month for me, the way my disability payments come. So so I went out and I forgot the goddamn one thing I went out to get. I forgot it. But anyway, so I'll either go out tomorrow or Friday to get that. So but anyway, where I was going this, it was damn cold, and my arthritis in my hands, it even hurt today. Even though my hands don't look swollen up, the joints hurt like crazy. And it was even hard just holding on to the goddamn steering wheel today. They hurt that bad. So, yeah, you got a heat wave there, Unknown User, at 49 degrees. So, so I haven't been, so hasten to say, with my hands like they are, I have not been shooting lately, which is a shame. I need to get out there and shoot some more. Talking about that, I don't know if I mentioned it yet or not, but that little shooting range I used, the Snellville Conservation Club that I belong to, I didn't realize last year, before he sold the place, my landlord is also the secretary of it. And he said, give me $20, and he gave me a card. He said, there you go. Anyway, I got the info in the mail this year, and I found out to become a member, it's a $10 initiation fee and a $10 yearly fee. So this year, it's only $10 to use the damn place. So, I thought, damn, this is pretty good here, But I need to start using it. Yeah, Unknown User said, my hands hurt too. I wear gloves when I drive in the winter. Yes, I got I got 2 pair of gloves on the passenger seat. Damn, I just don't put them on. So it's my own goddamn fault. I'm trying to be the big tough I am, but it ain't working. Anyway, I think Patriot in the Dark has a topic to start with anyway. What you got, Patriot?
Oh, geez. No, it was just I came across, what is it, Center Fire Systems. They got an email about cowboy loads ammunition. They got some deal like $99 plus a free ammo can and free shipping or something. But anyways, that cowboy load, I know Tony's not out there, but I was just wondering about recoil sensitive people if that would be an option. I know usually it's loaded really light. I mean, obviously you don't use the wax bullets or whatever, but
you actually using cowboy loads for like defense ammo?
he could be. Yeah. I mean, I know that there's a group of people that think that have mentioned, and I came across it a couple of years ago, that they were talking about carrying firearms with blanks in them, being visually impaired or whatever. So that's if you were attacked and somebody was on top of you, limiting themselves to only shooting if somebody's got hands on and it's next to you. And I always thought that, it was crazy. I mean, it's not a crazy idea because any kind of defense of yourself is worth at least a thought or, some kind of, solid questioning and testing or whatever. But I know for sighted people think that's just an insane idea. So anyways, but with that cowboy loads, just if you have obviously some issues, I was just wondering because I've never shot them. Obviously, they're in all sorts of calibers. So
I haven't either, but unknown user in the chat says cowboy loads are really weak, and you can almost watch the bullet all the way to the target.
Okay. See, I didn't know what kind of setup it is. If it's just a little bit lighter or just enough just to pop out a wax bullet to hit a target or something.
I hope he's finished. I hope he's not. Hope he's listening. Squibload being the expert reloader amongst us, he might be able to explain it to us.
I've shot cowboy loads in 38 special and 44 special, and I wasn't really paying attention to the recoil. I wasn't shooting them for low recoil. This is what they do. They simulate the velocity created by a black powder charge that would have been in that cartridge or a similar diameter bullet cartridge, a cartridge chambered in a bullet similar in diameter from the 19th century, but it uses smokeless powder, so you don't have to worry about the corrosive effects of black powder, and you also don't get as much smoke as you would with black powder. So recoil should be lighter, and I guess if at that time I was thinking that at some point somebody would pose the question, I guess I would have paid more attention to recoil, but that's all it's really supposed to do. You put enough black powder in the cylinder of a revolver or jam it down the barrel of a musket or rifle or something, you pack enough in a cartridge on a black powder cartridge gun, it's going to kick. It's going to kick. It's just how much capacity do you have? You want to make sure you also don't have an air gap. On smokeless, you can have an air gap. On black powder, you can't. That's another thing. If you want to reload smokeless powder to a cowboy load, you don't have to worry about packing the inside of the case with all kinds of stuffing so that you don't have that air gap between the top of the powder charge and the bottom of the bullet. So that's all it's really meant to be. The fact that it may recoil less, okay, yeah, I mean, you could use it that way, but that's not what they designed it for. So I suppose it would work, but I can go buy some cowboy loads and try them out sometime again, but I don't know when that's going to be.
Yeah, I mean,
you might end up paying more too. That's another thing. Yeah. Cowboy loads, you're going to pay more usually than you would for just your regular range ammo or even self-defense ammo in some cases.
Yeah, I mean, as I was saying before the chat started, I've experimented using less powder in my reloads, for practice to help with the recoil, but I still use defense ammo when I carried. So, to help with the recoil when I was practicing, but I don't know. Somebody asked you if you're using the cowboy loads. I mean, say you use them. Say I use cowboy loads in my M&P 45 semi-automatic, right? Would I get squib loads out of that?
No, because they don't make them in 45 AARP.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a
Yeah,
cowboy
it's
load is
really
going
a
to be in a
revolver.
caliber of an existing Old West style gun or a reproduction. And reproductions are going to, like, you're not going to see a 38, what is it, 38 Colt, it would have been back then, or 38 Smith and Wesson Special or something like that, or not 38 Smith and Wesson Long, I think, or something like that. It's not the same thing as a 38 Special, but if you buy a modern reproduction, it'll be chambered in 38 Special, and you can put full charge, regular 38s in there. But if you want to replicate the cowboy load, you can either load it down or buy ammunition like that. Same thing, 44 Special, 4440, which is an old 19th century caliber that you can still buy ammo in. 45 Colt, obviously, that's one of the more popular ones. But there's only going to be a few unless you hand load it yourself. At that point, I would just think if you can do your own reloads.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's actually how that came up. It was a while back. I was looking, and I came across. I don't know. There was people talking about whisper loads, and that it was actually more of a less audible. They were a little quieter. So I don't know what that was all about. But that was with the 38 Special, because obviously the sound and the decibels is what really gets me. I care less about the recoil. It's just how loud they are. It was going to make me deaf after I shoot once. So that was something that I was looking into, and that's why it kind of fell into the cowboy loads, and it was I don't know, it was something about a whisper. I don't remember exactly.
But now they sell low recoil defensive ammo.
Yeah,
Don't be taken back because it's in a pink box.
yeah, I don't care about the recoil, but as far as the decibels of shooting, that's why I don't like shooting 9, because it hurts my ears more than a 45 does.
Yeah, when I was practicing using less powder in my 45s to try to get a softer recoil, that is what I mentioned. That's what I was scared of, was not putting enough powder in,
right,
to recycle the ride,
or end up with a bullet jammed down the barrel.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Kingpin or New York Outcast, you got any experience with cowboy loads?
I don't personally. I just was doing a quick search on them, and from what I see, they use them a lot with the Sports SAS or SAS
Single Action Shooting Society.
Yeah,
yep.
I guess they're light or a preferred hobby round because the oil that you can apply to them makes them smoke quite considerably. So they say it adds to the fun. I also seen they had it in like 30-30. But I was trying to look real quick to see why they, it does say that it's a lighter shooting or lighter recoil, but I couldn't figure out why. So I assume obviously it's a different powder charge.
The black powder, even a black powder cartridge gun, if you're not packing that thing full of powder, if you're not trying to go over a standard charge, it's not a bad recoil. But if you have a big enough case and you pack enough powder in there, or you have a big enough cylinder, like on my Walker revolver, I can pack that thing with 60 grains of powder. That's musket. That's the same amount you'd put in a damn musket. And some people might think it's got kick. I don't think it has kick, but if you put like 25 grains of triple F black powder in a revolver, it's not really going to have a whole lot of kick. But then if you get a smaller one, like a pocket revolver, it'll kick more. It's the same principle as what we've got. So I just know that the cowboy loads they're not corrosive like black powder. They're a lot easier to reload than black powder if you were doing cartridges, because there are black powder cartridges. But if it's talking about the recoil there, then that's one of the things. But as far as the noise, I don't think the noise is going to be less, actually. I really don't.
Yeah, that's what I found with it. That whisper thing was they were talking about it, but I didn't find out any. They were talking Greek to me. So
I found a forum from SAS, Wire forum, Cowboy Loads for Defense with a question mark. If anybody is interested, maybe you might be able to find out more there.
Okay. All right. So, you got anything to do with Cowboy Loads, Kingpin?
No, if you'd have come to me first, my question would have been, what is a cowboy load? But since you came to me last and everybody seems to have already explained what it is, now I know what a cowboy load is.
Yeah. Yeah. Was that video the other day? Was that a new gun that you got?
Yeah, the Kimber.
Yeah. Yeah. How the rich live, man.
Yeah, right. I'm not rich, but I will say that one time I'll toot my horn. I've got a lot of good friends who take very good care of me.
Oh yeah. I mean that looked like a nice firearm. Congratulations on it.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet, but for a carry gun, I know a lot of people. I know Squib likes to carry a 1911 because he's a real man. But most people would say a 1911 is too big to conceal carry or whatever. That gun specifically, I would never carry because, as you've seen in the video, the slide is so super slippery. I'd fear, if I'm in a scary situation where my hands are sweating and my heart is beating fast, I'd be concerned about being able to rack it properly.
Was it too slippery after you cleaned it?
I haven't cleaned it yet. I'll do
Okay.
that. I'll do that this weekend before I go to the range. If I get to the range this weekend.
When I was carrying a 45, if I didn't carry my M&P 45, a couple of times I carried my 1911. But I'm a big guy. I mean, I could hide it.
I got a baby one, so I can carry it.
Yeah. So.
Well, I'd consider carrying my Ruger, like if I had a state to live in that let me carry. It's a lot easier to manipulate. I think it's because a couple people commented on the video and said that they had the same issue. It's that whatever paint on there has just made it a really slick surface. I don't think that it's because it's dirty or oily. I think that that's a thing too because it is dirty and oily, but I think just the finish on it is just too slippery.
Yeah. Rub your fingers and thumb with some sandpaper before you go out with it.
Yeah, somebody told me just throw it in the mud or drag it behind the truck for a little while.
Yeah.
As far as carrying a full-size 1911, Slim Cowboy did a video recently where he was explaining why he doesn't like nylon holsters, and he was showing how his Delta Elite, which is a full-size 1911, fits in a leather holster and how well it conceals. So if you want some ideas on how to carry one like a real man, go ahead and check out his video. It's why I don't like nylon holsters.
Yep, that's why I carried my 1911 and a 1791 gun leather holster.
Yeah, I carry mine in a leather holster too.
Yep.
I started off with Kydex, and somebody I knew at work that had been carrying a lot longer than me, he recommended I switch to leather, and he says you might end up with a little bit more holster wear, but it's going to work out better. And I got to say that I thought it was more comfortable, but I didn't carry the Kydex long enough to really dislike it either, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I know G-Web says he cut slits in his fingertips and stuck in powerful magnets in there because of the fear of what Kingpin is describing. Once they healed, I won't have that problem. Also, I can grab paper clips way easier now.
That's pretty slick. I do have a really sharp knife. I'm going to practice that tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay.
Guy that comments left down a pretty good question. If I don't know if you saw that.
What?
Here it is. He said, would being deaf be considered not a disability when it comes to shooting? Maybe even an advantage?
Well, at the point of pulling the trigger, I guess it would. But if the people, if your attacker is coming up behind you, it wouldn't be, would it?
It depends also on the person, just like the range of sight being from people that just need glasses and they're legally blind to totally blind. That pressure, you still feel pressure. I don't know. I mean, I know several people that wear, have to wear hearing aids and stuff, and obviously they wear, muffs and all that stuff. But
Yeah. I mean, I remember when what was the last time I went to the range, even with that 380 I have, I set myself all up and everything. I got my targets out there and I'm all ready. I even got my nice chair with my table on that's hooked onto the side of it where I can sit down and shoot if my back starts hurting me or whatever, and I'm there and I take aim, pull the trigger, and I forgot to put my earmuffs on. God damn, that thing is loud. My ears rang for 2 days, but
I think everybody's done that.
yeah. So anyway, Kingpin, what was the waiting period on that pistol? 10 days in Maryland?
Yeah, when you buy a handgun in the state of Maryland, there's a mandatory 7-day, well, it's 8-day waiting period, but they count the day that you sign up. So, like, say for instance, you go to a gun store and it closes at 6, and you do the paperwork at 5:50. They still count that as a full day. So it's technically only 7 days, but on paper it's 8 days.
That's
Okay.
worse than New York.
Yeah. I mean, when I was in Rhode Island, if you didn't have a carry permit, it was a 7-day wait period.
Yeah, in Maryland, even if you have a carry permit, you still have to wait the 7 days. The only real go around in Maryland, we have a one gun a month policy, but if you one handgun a month, not one rifle a month. But if you sign up for what's called collector status, then you can buy one every 8 days. So basically, once you buy a gun, you have to wait until you physically go pick it up before you can buy another one. Like you can't, buy a gun today and then 2 days later start another 8 days. You have to wait for that full 8 days to go through to where like you can go pick up your gun. Then that day you can buy another one, which would give you another 8 days to wait. But without the collector status, you have to wait 30 full days. Now, if you wanted to buy more than one, you have to wait 60 days. So you can buy more than one at a time, but if you do, then you have to wait 60 days.
Yeah. I know user says when I go to buy a gun, I walk out with it the minute my payment clears. Yeah. I think I know user, you're in Tennessee, ain't you? Here in Indiana, it's the same way. Just pay your money, do the 4473. It hits clear, the credit card or you pay cash, whatever. It's boom, you walk out the door. So there was a question and thing about states that issue carry permits, concealed carry permits to visually impaired people. Well, I know Michigan does because Patriot has one.
yeah, there's actually there's several.
I'm sorry, Patriot. Go ahead. My bad.
No, go.
No, please. I'm sorry.
I know people in several states, so I mean I don't know. It's something that's just kind of kept close to whatever you call it, close to your vest or something. So yeah, if there's anybody out there that's thinking about it, just get a hold of me. I'm not going to talk about it because I mean, even the people that I know, most of them don't say anything about it. I mean, it's obviously that's why I don't go around saying who I am all the time or jump around on the camera because there's a lot of weirdos out there that But I know Texas and some of the Dakotas and I don't. Anyway, yeah, there's several out there.
Yeah.
G-Web's
Talking about carry permits, but of course it was Blind Shooter who brought that one up. But you got to remember, he lives in New York City, you know, so chance of him getting a permit is slim to none.
You could probably just go to New Jersey. They're starting to get better on gun laws, aren't they?
Yeah, not as good as we like it to be. Hey,
Hey,
Hey, Blind Shooter, I didn't see you sneak in. So,
Well, G-Webs makes a pretty good point out in the chat. He says, I think CCW permits should be free for any disabled. So should NFA. There should be a CNR like FFL for disabled, where if you have that FFL, you can just own, make, or carry whatever. What is everybody's thoughts on that? As far as somebody who's actually medically disabled, to where their doctor puts them on disability or whatever. In my opinion, they should be able. It should be easier for them to get carry permits and gun licenses. Although obviously those are both bullcrap. You shouldn't have to get either one. But since you do have to get them, I think it should be easier for, say, a Patriot or Rick or Blind Shooter or Wheelchair Warrior to get the permits. The only real argument that I would see that people would make, which is a BS argument anyway, is say Wheelchair Warrior would be easier to take his gun away from him and use it nefariously or use it against him, which I think is BS. But what do you guys think? Should it be easier for disabled people to get permits or what?
I think it should be, personally, because I'm disabled, and my experience is tainted because I got mine up in Rhode Island, my very first one, and it was so tough. You had to go in front of a board, have 3 people write letters, say you're a good character. They wrote to every rehab facility in the state to make sure I didn't have a drinking or drug problem. They've done all that before they even issue you one. So, and that is, and I'm disabled. They've done that for normal people. There was no concession for me being disabled whatsoever. But that argument you were saying about them, like I carry, because of my left hand being damaged, I carry right hand now, but I also use my cane in my right hand. So you could technically say, well, my gun could be taken away from me. But you could say that anybody could be attacked from the back and have their gun taken from them. You know what I'm saying? It depends on how the situation. But also, I think we should be given either what G-Webs is saying, the CCW, the NFA, and all that, because we're in greater need of personal protection. I feel, because we're the most, people. When you hit a certain age too, when you hit retirement age, I think you should get them too, because that is statistically, disabled and older people are the ones that are getting attacked the most. So, anybody else got anything to say on it?
I'd just say I'd agree with Kingpin. Basically, the only thing I could see is the classification or whatever, whether it was physical or mental. I think some aspects in mental it could still be helpful, but I would probably see it being more regulated in that sense. Obviously, I think everything should be available for any legal person, but in this scenario, I definitely would see disabled older people as being, victimized more, seen as an easier target, and honestly are more fragile as the older you get. The less it takes to really wreck your quality of life. So
The argument about it being taken away from you, I hear the same thing about open carry. Oh, because it's out in the open, it's easier for them to take it. Really? How many cops do you know that are just walking down the street and somebody just comes up and takes their gun? Now, I'm not saying during
only
a
if they
struggle.
backflip or they're
During
dancing.
a struggle, and they just give it up. During a struggle is different. I don't care who you are. A struggle is a struggle. If you brought that gun from concealed and brought it out and got in a struggle, it'd be the same thing. But just openly carrying it or being disabled and carrying it, it's more about you being aware of your environment, you making sure that you're retaining it properly. You've got good holster retention, whatever you want to call it. You know what you're doing with it. You're not. If you just say, hey, you've never had any experience and you can barely pick up I don't know, a pound, and we're just going to give you this hand cannon. It doesn't work that way. I mean, it's got to be something where somebody's personal choice and somebody's skill level. You would hope. I don't know that it should be in something that's enforced because I'm not too big on that. But you would hope that they would be carrying a gun that they could handle, and they'd know what to do with it.
Well, that falls with everybody. You don't have, just because it's constitutional carry doesn't mean every school teacher is going to carry one. So that's kind of whatever. But as far as disabled people, yes, I think they should, might be easier. I mean, it'd be great if I could have a suppressor just because I'm blind and I can't hear if I shoot and it's too loud, whatever. But the one thing about this, I mean, for the most part, I mean, that's why we have braces. They're not for Squibb to go out and shoot an AR-15 pistol, and kind of have it against his cheek or whatever that is. That's not what they were designed for. It's not for that. It's for the guy that has one hand or the lady that has one hand or, disfigured hands, whatever. There's reasons that those things are out there, and that's what it was from. It wasn't, anyways, that's another thing. But all you have to do is look at any, if you do a Google search right now, as far as, visually impaired and, firearms or whatever, you'll have just as many people on the 2A quote unquote side that will be against it. So there's a big headway. I mean, there's a headwind, I guess, whatever you want to call it. But as far as like the physical disabilities, you'll get a lot more people on board with it than that. That's why, bringing the ADA into the equation with things can deter possibly the ATF from just jumping on it and batting it down really fast. So I mean there's a lot of different things that could help, but the AOWs or suppressors or anything that's on the NFA, anything that makes something easier is obviously a benefit. But not only do you have to fight against the people that don't believe in the Second Amendment, there are some in the Second Amendment side that need to learn too. So, not to be dreary or nothing, but but of course, yes, of course, I want a suppressor and an AOW. So,
yeah, G Webb's out in the chat there says he's talking about 9mm was invented for therapy caliber.
Yep.
Hey, I don't know why I'm laughing. I'm shooting a 380, which is even less, so, well, anyway, is anybody else got anything on that? On
I would say that, just do that if you got a spare minute. Do a search on, disabled, self-defense, whatever, and then also throw in the visually impaired and just see, don't count obviously the anti-gunners or the people that don't care about freedoms or liberties, but look at those guys that are quote unquote, stand up for liberties and see how many there are that are negative.
Oh God! I mean, hope the anti-gunners don't find out that they let you have a CCW.
Oh, they do. Oh, they do.
I mean, they want to shut that down in a heartbeat.
There was a guy
had a gun.
Yeah, there was a guy on the west side of the state that several years before I, started looking into it, he had did a whole bunch of training with a friend of his that was a police officer, a lot of hands-on, whatever, nose to nose, and he had went up there, and you got all these. This was back, I believe it was when they still had the boards and all that stuff where they had to, approve you or whatever. But yeah, ladies I remember there was a quote that the lady's like, "Oh, what happens? Somebody's going to bump you, and he's just going to start, going crazy." It's like totally ridiculous. So yeah,
That just shows you like how close-minded people are, and they need to be educated.
Yeah, that's what it all comes down to: education.
I mean, one of the first times I was at a gun range, and I'll never forget, there were 2 RSOs for about maybe like 4 or 5 people that were shooting. And the one guy saw me come in with the white cane and everything, and he's like, "What the hell is this guy doing here? He's blind. How does he even have a gun?" And the other RO that was there already knew me from shooting, and he's like, "I trusted that blind guy shooting a gun more than I trust some of the Marines, no offense, Squib and Patriot, with a spud gun."
Here's the thing. Speaking from somebody who never knew anybody who was legally blind and shot guns until I came onto the show, I think people look at it from the perspective of, can you guys drive a car legally? Now, I know you know how to operate a vehicle, but, if your eyesight isn't good enough to pass the test, or you've lost your eyesight completely, I mean, I suppose I could sit in the passenger seat and say, turn left, turn right, and you'd probably be just fine, but I think that's what people are. I'm not trying to make excuses, but I think the fact that you're on YouTube and you're explaining this stuff, and this stuff gets out, and as much bad information as people parrot out there on YouTube, this is good information for them, and that may get people in our own community to go, "Oh, I didn't know. I just assumed it was like driving."
Yeah,
Well, see, in terms of like with regards to the whole driving thing, all I'm going to say is, and I'm sure Patriot can agree with me, look how many accidents you sighted people get into while driving. How many
That's because
accidents
they're not paying attention. See, I would never think of somebody using a handgun for self-defense if they were blind, because it's a ranged weapon. But Patriot's already explained how it can be used at close range. I'm like, yeah, didn't think about that, because at that range, I'd beat somebody with my gun. But not everybody's trying to take out aggression on the bad guy. So I never considered it like that. And yeah, and from the same sense, how many people are texting and driving, or they got their driver's license, they passed their test, but they can't drive worth a damn, and they cause accidents. What if somebody who could see perfectly was not following the 4 safety rules, and they were not aware of what was behind their target, and they shot and missed and hit an innocent bystander? It'd be the same difference as if somebody who was blind or partially blind, right? So it's the same difference. But the thing is, I'm just saying, the average public perception probably isn't that. So the fact that you guys, got the guts to come out here and explain stuff like that, that's a good way to get rid of that in our community.
Yeah, that's the way that. Oh.
Go ahead, Patriot.
I was just going to say, because you don't know anything about anything until it's in your face. Like, I didn't know any blind guys until I went blind. Now they're all over the damn place, right? I mean, in my town, I never, never paid attention enough, I guess, whatever. And so unless you have something in your face, I mean, that I'm guaranteed people are listening. When they first heard about it, that shock that, oh, what the hell is this guy doing? That's crazy.
I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, when you first told me, I went, wow. I was kind of, really? But once you explained it to me and I got to know you, I understand it totally.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I look at it like this, with Blind Shooter and Patriot in the Dark, on my affirmative action list, I can put 2 checks by blind friend, and I'm doing really good. I just mentioned Patriot more because he's more annoying.
Yep.
It's not like it's unreasonable for sighted people to be concerned about blind people having guns. I mean, if Patriot and Blind Shooter think that it's unreasonable, then they're being unreasonable. You got it. I mean, I get it that Patriot and Blind Shooter have dedicated themselves to this to learn this, but when we're talking like Squib was saying, your average Joe Schmo hears that sees a blind guy walk to the gun range with a handgun, they're probably going to leave because you're a blind guy with a gun. You're going to hurt somebody, So it's not unreasonable for the general public to be concerned about that. But I will add to that by saying this, that like Squib said, you two being here talking about this and Rick having a show about this kind of stuff is extremely important for not just the Second Amendment community, but the American community altogether to, what is it, not fear what you don't understand? Is that what they always say? People fear what they don't understand. Now that you're out there, if say guy that comments is out at the gun range and a blind guy walks in, he's not going to freak out. He'll be like, "Oh man, that's cool. I'm going to go talk to that guy, see if he knows Patriot or something." So it's not unreasonable that people think that, but it is very important that you guys are here talking about it.
Yeah, see, I can't do that at the range. I can't. If I see a blind person shooting, I can't go up there and go, "Hey, do you know Patriot in the dark?" He's probably going to club me with his cane, So it's like,
because if he knows me, he knows Squib, and he knows stay away from that guy.
Yeah, it's pretty much. Yeah, I've heard of people. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, I can understand where Kingpin's coming from. As I said, I thought, wow, a blind guy shooting, but then like you told me, like how you use those little key fobs that sound off, at a range. And also, if it came to self-defense, you're waiting till somebody's basically on top of you before you would do anything because of that, which I think is, the way, I just think it's remarkable. I really do.
And we understand that obviously there's people that I would not want, to have firearms, they're not safe. I'll just say that some people are not safe. And, most of those guys are sighted, of course, but, anyways, I'm going to have to run. My daughter just came home. So
okay.
I hope you guys have a great night. Thanks, Rick, for putting this on. And just to mention, if anybody wants to know, I do have a project going right now, and I'm looking for somebody in the New Orleans area. So if there's anybody that that's disabled, or somebody that's disabled, email me at patriotinthedark@gmail.com. And I appreciate it.
All right.
You guys have a good night. All right.
Later, Patriot.
Patriot.
Oh yeah, I was going to mention that as well about his project. So if anybody knows anybody, is or knows somebody in the New Orleans area, email with some sort of disability, email Patriot in the dark for this project he's got going on. So we would appreciate it. I know what it's about, because he was talking to me about it, but I can't say right now. So anyway, moving on. Anybody got anything else we want to talk about? Do you want to move on to current affairs? Anybody? Or do you want to stay where we're at?
Keep the show moving.
I was just going to say, I'd like to add that I felt like you at first, Rick, about the blind shooting. I think it was just a shock. I never really considered it, but I think once I kind of just tried to put myself in that situation, closing my eyes, think about it, and as a sighted person, I really don't see any reason why an unsighted person couldn't, pretty well defend themselves within close range. There's a lot of times, at night in your home or something like that, I'm pretty sure Patriot could tell the difference between his daughter coming in his room and, trying to manhandle him than a stranger. So, with that aspect, I couldn't see any issue with it. I think, but it might, like Kingpin said, I think people might naturally be shocked because, in a sense, I had to stop and think myself. But, more power to them.
Well, you can't be afraid of bias. It's not like people are saying, oh, a girl can't shoot a 1911 and 45. That's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, we're talking about somebody who's 100% blind, pointing a gun and pulling a trigger. You know, if you think it's unreasonable to question that, then you have to explain to me why, without the testimony of blind shooter and patriot.
Yeah, yeah, I see where you're coming from.
And patriot was a Marine or is a Marine, and blind shooters from New York City. You don't get too much tougher than a New Yorker and Marines. So it's not like these are, Johnny Q locals that are blind and picked up guns. These guys are dedicated to what they do.
Yeah.
Well, then, I mean, just to touch on what Patriot was saying, we all pretty much have some sense of think certain people should have guns. Like, we have that kind of bias towards at least someone with something. I mean, I'll go on record right now saying, do I think all people should have guns? No. I personally know of a few that are autistic, and I honestly wouldn't trust them shooting just because of the way they are. Now, do I think they should go ahead and prove me wrong? By all means, I am all for that. Prove me wrong. Prove me you can do it.
Yeah. Oh, out there in the chat, there, I believe G-Web got an interview with the company that makes those chairs that have the tracks on them, like a tank, to use for hunting and stuff like that. I sure would like one of those. I hope you're going to put that interview on YouTube, G. I like to listen to that. I don't think Medicare will pay for one. Unfortunately, last time I looked, they were expensive. We're talking, 10 grand plus. So
that's why you got to step up your pimping game, Rick.
Do what?
Your pimping game. You got to step it up.
Yeah. I definitely would. I would love to have one of those, but I'm trying to, I'm trying to walk more, lose more weight. I'm trying to do some I'm looking for talking about being disabled stuff with my back. I haven't researched it. What I was going to say. Damn, it went out of my head totally.
I think you were getting ready to say something along the range of midnight range stinks or something like that.
Oh yeah, I mean I am about ready to take his wrench away from him before he loses his mod status. He's becoming a troublemaker on this show lately. You
should have seen the beginning chat.
Oh, I don't remember what I was going to say now. It's to do with me and health and all that. I need to start. I haven't researched it yet on the web. If anybody's got any websites, they can email them to me. I need to stop. I got a bad back. As everybody knows, I can't even bend over. It's that bad. So I'm looking for some exercises I can do. That I could do. I don't know how, sitting down, standing up, but doesn't involve my back.
I will help you with that, Rick. I'll email you.
Okay, great.
You could get some dumbbells and keep them by your chair and just do curls when you're sitting there watching TV or something.
Yeah. But I it's part of my New Year's thing. I know it.
There's sandbags that you can buy. They're probably not cheap. I mean, you probably find them at Walmart rather cheap, where you could strap them around your ankles, and it's like 2 pounds, 5 pounds, or something like that, and that'll just add a little bit of weight, like when you're walking around the house or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's what I was going to suggest.
I'm a big boy. I need to lose weight, as we talked about this a few weeks ago. That I got to lose a fair bit of weight I got to lose at least 50 pounds, between 50 and 80 pounds before they're operate on my right hip, basically. So I figured with my diet and do some exercise, that might help me drop some weight quicker.
Have you considered the lap band diet or the lap band procedure?
Yes, I have. I don't like the idea, but it's if all else fails, that's what I will do. So
After doing a quick search, I see there seems to be an industry for wheelchair aerobics. So, I mean, there might be some type of taking a look at that. Something you might be.
oh yeah. I mean, just take what they're doing just by sitting in a regular chair and doing what somebody in a wheelchair would do. Yeah, that would work.
Yeah, if you have limited mobility or something like
Yeah.
that. I mean, it looks like they sell videos. There's some YouTube stuff that's free. And, it looks like you can find a few places you can order things from and watch for free or subscriptions. So even just to get an idea, I don't know.
Where do you buy your groceries from, Rick?
Where I buy my groceries from, mainly Walmart.
Okay. Do you have a grocery store near where you live?
Well, it's down the road from Walmart, so it's in the same locale. Yeah.
Most of your modern grocery stores have a little office next to the customer service area where a nutritionist works. And you can go in there and have the nutritionist help you change your diet too. That way you don't have to do any of these stupid crash diets or eat rice cakes all day long or try to figure out what they can put you on a meal plan which will help you naturally lose weight and you won't have to starve yourself doing it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I didn't even think about it.
That's either cheap or free too. Their consultation is either really, really cheap or it's free.
Yeah. My actual that's what thing my doctor's doing. They're setting me up with a dietitian or what you call them, something like that to help me on that side of it too. Because crash diets have never worked for me. Eat less than 2,000 calories a day. Come on. I drink more than 2,000 calories a day, let alone have anything to eat.
I'm an user. There's a Food Lion near me, which I don't think the Food Lion has one, but I know the Safeway has one. And then we have a grocery store around here called Martin's, which is basically Giant, but just under a different name. And they have the nutritionist there too. So it may not be in every single grocery store, I don't know, but if they're there, that's a really good way to go. Because if you look, all your diet plans, like when you see the commercials for the diet plans, they're not eating one meal a day; they're eating 10 meals a day. They're having a small meal, a snack, a small meal, a snack. That way, they don't crave and they're not starving themselves, and they're letting the nutrition of the food do the work. If you have a box of Twinkies and that's all you eat all day, that's not going to help you. But if you have the proper nutrients in your body, that'll help you naturally lose weight.
No, yeah, you're right. So that's what I need to do is make sure I'm eating the right stuff. Where I might think I'm.
That's what it's all about portion control too.
Yeah, where I think I might be eating the right stuff. I could be eating something that's totally not right for me. Unknown user said I lived on 750 to 1,200 calories a day for over 3 years. Damn, I don't know how in the hell you survived. What was that when you were a baby?
You could just eat MREs. Those things will make you skinny.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
That they'll actually do the opposite.
Why they're full of plenty of
Too much
protein.
work to make one.
Yeah, MREs have a lot of calories in them, and they're designed to make you constipated too.
Yeah.
I think it's like 3,000 calories.
That's what I remember is 3,000. I'd eat 3 of those a day, and I wouldn't gain any weight.
Yeah, I did gain weight.
Did you? I was always hungry in the service. Anytime somebody's like, "Does anybody want this?" Because there are lots of guys who eat stuff in it because they didn't like the taste. Man, I would eat mine and extra.
Yeah. Where does Midnight Range live?
Pennsylvania.
Oh hell, he can. Well, I was gonna say he could cook me meals and bring them to me. I'm only in Indiana; it ain't that far. But he only works in a Waffle House.
Have you seen Midnight Range? I don't think he eats anything low calorie.
Hey, if you see, I mean, I will back Midnight Range up on this. If you see us, I don't trust a skinny chef. That's all I'm saying. So, you know, so there we go. Anyway,
John Z had a pretty good point. If you're having back issues, obviously, if you've got a busted up back, it's not going to, it is what it is. But if you need help, if you lay on your back and do leg lifts, like lift your leg up and just raise your legs from time to time, or both legs at once or one leg at a time, just, a couple reps a day, that'll help strengthen your lower back too.
yeah, you're right. Yeah. What was it? John Z said, stay away from fried foods, high cholesterol foods, sodas, and high carb foods. Damn it, John. I wouldn't eat a goddamn thing.
Yeah, well, see, I think it's a little bit, has to do with your genetics, and it has to do with your lifestyle too, because I know that if I wanted to lose weight and I did some of these diets and some of it, I would either gain weight or get sick, or whereas if you ate what I ate, you'd be 3 times your size. There are people that said, like, how do you eat all that and not gain any weight? I'm an active person. I have a high metabolism. Whatever, I eat a balanced diet and stuff. There are all kinds of people that say, well, I only eat this, only eat that, and they don't tell anybody, oh yeah, and in between I'm eating candy bars and ice cream, and I don't eat that shit. So I think everybody's different. I think you could try a diet that worked for somebody, or try an exercise regimen that worked for somebody, but if it doesn't work, then just switch to another one until you find something that works for you, for your lifestyle, what you can physically handle, and all that. Because I would say, you want to lose weight, the best way, it's called quitting eating. But that's just it's still not necessarily, what if you get sick because you decide to try to starve yourself? So, and if you try to exercise yourself too hard and you get hurt, now you can't move at all, right? Say you break your ankle or something, right? You shouldn't say, well, I'm not going to exercise because I might break. But if you break your ankle, now you're laying there in a cast. You're definitely not going to lose any weight. So it's a real difficult thing, because each of us are individuals, and we all live different lifestyles and have different physical capabilities. So I would say just try something, and if it doesn't work, or even if it's going off a doctor's recommendation or a nutritionist recommendation, if it doesn't work, then look for something else.
Oh yeah, you're right. I mean, that's what I got to do. It's a matter of trial and error with me. I mean, also, like Sabrina said, carbohydrates are also the problem for diabetic patients. See, I'm diabetic too, so I need you. And I've noticed, though, which I find strange, and I don't know, I think the only thing that's keeping mine at bay is the medication. But most diabetics I know, if they get diabetes, they drop weight fast. But I never have. So I don't know why.
Hey, Rick, what about stress? I had a period in my life where I had so much stress that I was eating high-fat foods just to to maintain my weight. I had lost like 40 pounds, and I was eating normal, and I still wasn't doing anything. So I started adding high-fat food just to keep me from losing any more weight. It was awful. So, yeah. How about going through like another divorce or something? You'll stress it right off.
Yeah. I mean, normally I do have if I let myself get down, I will eat more. Like I'll sit in front of, like, one of my bad habits, and luckily I broke it in the last 6 months. I haven't done it in 6 months. One of my worst habits is in the evening is sitting in front of a TV with a bowl of ice cream. I don't do that anymore. I haven't had ice cream in about 6 months. Now I said that, watch me go out and buy some this week. Because it'll be on my mind now. So, all right. Anyway, it's gone 8 o'clock, guys. And as you know, I only keep this to a 1 hour show because I'm hungry. I mean, here's another thing. I'm thinking, what am I going to have tonight? I'm thinking of grilled cheese sandwiches.
Don't forget your quiz.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. Oh, yeah, for those who weren't here Saturday, the quiz for this coming week, email me. It's an email one, Rick's Life as I See It at gmail.com or spottedrick at gmail.com for a patch swag pack. And it's a real easy one. In the movie, The Outlaw Josie Wells, all I want to know is in that famous scene when he's facing 4 Union troops, I want the exact phrase he used in that movie, and that's the question. So when he was facing those 4 Union troopers, what was the phrase he used? I want it exact, or close to exact as as shit is to swearing. So, all right. So that's the question. So I want to say, you got any closing stuff you want to say, New York?
Not much. Just popped a video off about receiving a package from the gun snobs. I just forewarn anybody if you do. Other than that, just thanks for the invite.
No problem. I appreciate you being here and on the panel. Anything, Squib?
Yeah, where's the mute button? Everybody, have a good week, and thanks for the invite.
All right, and Kingpin.
Once again, I gotta thank you, Rick. This is a fantastic show. Hanging out on your channel is a highlight. I really enjoy being here, and everybody out in the chat tonight was really fantastic. Lots of really good information and stuff. So, thank you everybody for coming and making this the best place on the internet.
Yeah. Sean Ponner, he's just showing up as I'm shutting down. I keep telling you, I'm on the only time zone that matters, Eastern. I start at 7. So, because y'all know you Texas people think because you're from Texas, we live on your world, but we don't. So, all right, I want to say thank you to everybody for being here. And don't forget, if you're disabled or know somebody who is around the New Orleans area or can get to New Orleans within a short amount of time, email the Patriot in the Dark at gmail.com for a project he's working on. All right. So I want to say thank you all for being here. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you all on Saturday at 3 p.m. So good night, everybody.